So the next experiment is here. Today we'll discuss about the second experiment in our digital communication lab, that is a pulse code modulation. So what is the pulse code modulation and how it is useful in practical applications of communications, and how this pulse code modulation is performed by using a hardware kit in our laboratory. So all these things I will explain in this particular class. Now let us observe the general block diagram of the PCM system so that it is very easy to understand what is our experiment and what we are doing and what part of this block we are doing in the experiment. As you know that a pulse code modulation is a analog to digital conversion technique, are also called as digital transmission technique. In that, an analog signal is first transmitted to digital signal, and that digital signal is going to be transmitted in the communication channel. And at the receiver section, that digital signal is again decoded and converted into analog signal, so that the original input signal is reconstructed at the destination. So in order to convert analog signal to digital signal, the major fundamental techniques or blocks we need are sampling, quantization, and encoding. Okay. So initially the analog signal is low pass filter and band limited to some frequency, and this input analog signal is passed through sampler. So after that we get a sampled signal by using some sampling frequency or a sampling rate. Then it is applied to a quantizer. The quantizer will approximate this sample value to the nearest quantization level, and after that the encoder will encode these levels into some group of bits. So we'll see this process of converting analog signal to digital signal in this particular experiment, and also we'll see the receiver section also, but this regenerative repeater is not there in our experimental kit, because by using PCM system generally we are going to transmit this signal through a communication line. It may be a coaxial cable or a telephone line like that. So if the length of the wire is very high, then we require to use these regenerative repeaters. Whenever there is a distortion in the PCM signal, that distortion will be eliminated. But in our laboratory experiments, we are not transmitting the PCM signal to long distances or through some telephone wires. We are directly connecting the input and output. That's it. That's why this regenerative repeater is not there, but the receiver section will observe. That means the PCM output is directly applied to the receiver section without any distortion. Now we will observe what is the PCM transmission process first, how the PCM output is generated, and then we'll discuss about how the PCM is how the original signal is reconstructed by using PCM receiver. So in this diagram, you can clearly observe how the analog signal is converted into digital signal. That is in terms of binary ones and zeros. First, the analog signal is passed through a sampling. Based on the sampling clock and the sampling rate used in the sampling process, we get this particular sampled output. So this sampled output sometimes called as a PAM signal, pulse amplitude modulated signal, because ideally there is no impulses. Generally, if you observe, these are the impulse signals, right? These are impulses, but practically there are no such impulses. So if you observe practically, each sample we have some bit. Each sample we have some bit. Okay, each sample is having some bit. So if you observe all the samples are having some bit, then this waveform is clearly like a PAM signal. Okay, so this sample signal is passed to the quantizer. So in this quantizer, there are some number of quantizer levels are there, and each sample value is going to be approximated to the nearest quantization level like this. That means that's why if you observe the sample output and quantization output, both are looking similar. Both are looking similar, but only the difference is by levels. That is only the difference. And then each quantized value, these amplitudes, each quantized amplitude values are passed through encoder. So this encoder, in this place of encoder, we may use 8-bit encoder or a 7-bit encoder or a 3-bit encoder, whatever it may. Depending on the size of the encoder, each quantized amplitude value is assigned with some group of bits. For example, if I am using 7-bit encoder, each amplitude value is applied or encoded with 7 bits. So 7 bits, 7 bits, 7 bits, 7 bits, and so on like this. So depending on number of samples, here we may get a large sequence of binary digits, that is ones and zeros and so on like this. Here, for example, generally if we consider the high sampling rate signal, then we can observe thousands of samples are there. So all these thousands of amplitude values are converted into some group of bits. Each one is assigned to some 7 bits. So 1000 into 7, that is 7000 bits, bits of information is observed at the encoder output. Okay, that is the general case. Now we'll see what is our experimental kit. So this is the PCM transmitter hardware kit, which is used in our laboratory. So this is the TDM PCM transmitter trainer. So it is mentioned that it is a TDM. That means we can also do some multiplexing in the PCM system. But of course you can do. But first we take the PCM system with a single input. Later we can do multiplexing if required. So in this particular PCM transmitter diagram, this is entirely PCM transmitter only. There is a separate hardware kit for PCM receiver. So in this PCM transmitter, let us observe in the function generator we have 4 different input knobs. 2 signals are nothing but, 2 knobs are nothing but DC1 and DC2, that is DC signals, and other 2 signals are AC signals having some sinusoidal frequency of 1 kHz and 2 kHz. I will explain why the DC signal and AC signals are separately given in this experiment. Now, this part is nothing but the complete transmitter part of the PCM system. So in the transmitter only, sampling, quantization, encoding, all the 3 blocks are there. Okay. Now, for example, if I want to convert the analog signal, sine wave analog signal to digital signal by using PCM system, and also if I want to observe what is the PCM output, then select any of the sinusoidal signal from 1 kHz or 2 kHz. So here I'm selecting, let us select a 1 kHz signal and connect this 1 kHz signal to the transmitter input. Okay. Here there is another channel. Why there 2 channels are given? That means for the purpose of multiplexing, if you want to multiplex 2 signals, this is the another channel. But if you don't want to multiplex, you want to convert this only 1 signal to PCM output, then you can use only 1 channel. Or else you can connect these both the channels to same way, so that from these 2 channels only 1 signal is transmitting finally. Okay. Now after connecting this sinusoidal signal, first you need to observe what is the sinusoidal signal coming in the CRO and what is the amplitude and frequency. Then only connect this to input. Then here carefully observe again, as like in time division multiplexing, again there is a clock or a sampling clock here. If you observe at this point, there is a clock signal is obtained, and the same based on this clock signal the input is sampled. Whenever if you observe this kind of switch, that switch is nothing but a sampled switch. So based on this switching operation, the analog signal is going to be sampled based on this clock pulse sampling rate. Okay. So when the switch is open, no signal is transmitted. When the switch is closed, only the sample of the signal at this particular instant is going to transmit. Like that, after this point, sampled signal is obtained at this particular pin. Similarly, if you connect another signal, the sample signal is coming at this point. So finally, if you observe at this particular point, sampled signal is obtained. Similarly, this block represents the quantization process. Inside that there is a IC diagram for quantization, but that is not shown. So here, after this particular pin, if you observe this pin connected to CRO probe, then if you observe in the CRO there is a quantization of, and then where the encoder is, this particular block represents the encoder block. This particular block represents the encoder. That means if you apply this quantizer output to the encoder, so this encoder will assign each quantized amplitude value into some group of bits. Here, how many group of bits are used for each sample value? Total 7 bits are used to represent the quantized value. Here, in order to understand or in order to enable number of bits, here these LEDs are used. Whenever the LED is on, that means here binary 1 is on. Whenever LED is off, means binary 0 is on. Like that, you can clearly observe what is the bit sequence or what is the group of bits assigned for each quantized value or each sample value. So that we can observe directly, and all this bit sequence is applied to output logic, and finally if you observe at this particular point, that is the PCM output. So this PCM output, if you observe in the CRO, then this bit sequence, that is binary ones and zeros, are converted into electrical waveform. You observe this electrical waveform is obtained. Is that clear? In this way, we can convert this analog signal to sample signal, quantized signal, and then digital signal. Okay. Now, and also where the clock pulse is there, this is where the sampling clock we can observe. Right. Now we'll see how the different signals are obtained in the CR. Of course, this is the received hardware kit, and this is especially for PCM receiver kit. After obtaining the PCM output, if you connect the PCM output to the receiver input like this, then this is the complete PCM receiver block, which contains the reconstruction filter, digital analog converter, and filters, and low pass filter. After this entire process, finally, we observe the CRO probe at this particular point, then directly the demodulated signal, that is what the original sinusoidal signal we have applied as the input in the transmitter, the same signal will be obtained here. And also in the PCM receiver, we can also observe that whether the binary bit sequence is perfectly decoded or not in this particular D2A converter. If you observe in the D2A converter, whatever the bit sequence there in the transmitter, the same bit sequence is decoded here. That you need to observe, and then only that is converted into original signal. Okay. Now we'll see all these operations one by one. Actually, I have already explained this procedure. Now, if you see, I have taken 1 kHz as an input signal, and that input signal is connected to here, and both the channels are combined because we are using only one signal, not a multiplexer signal. So, if you connect this input to the CRO, so this is the positive pin and this is the negative pin. Okay, that is connected to ground. So, if you connect this to CRO, then you'll observe there is a sinusoidal signal in the CRO screen. You can take either 1 kHz signal or a 2 kHz signal, whatever. Next, where the clock pulse is there, we already know that here this point we have a clock pulse. If you observe this CRO probe at this particular point, you can also observe the clock pulse or a sampling clock. Only based on this sampling rate or sampling time only, the sample signal will be generated. Next, if you observe the CRO probe at this particular point, then you can clearly observe after this sampling process, the sampled signal will be obtained like this. If you can clearly observe the CRO screen, there is a dotted line of sine wave is obtained. Each dot represents the one sample value from the input analog signal. Similarly, if you zoom that sample output in the CRO, so it will be obtained like this. So these are first sample, second sample, third sample, like that. Okay, all these vertical lines represent the clock pulses. Based on the occurrence of each clock time, different samples are obtained like this. Okay. Similarly, if you observe the quantized signal, both sample signal and quantized signal look like the same, but here if you observe that the sample signal may have some curvature outputs, but the quantized output is having constant output. Only the difference between sample and quantized signals are the sample values are going to be approximated to nearest quantized levels. Here there may be some approximation. All the sample values are approximated to nearest quantization level. Then, if you observe the PCM output finally, here there is a different procedure we are going to use to observe the PCM output. So, all of you carefully observe this. So, here we have to consider any one of the input signal. Let us take the 1 kHz sine wave, and that 1 kHz sine wave is connected to here. And if you observe that in the CRO, that is the sine wave and some amplitude frequency. Now, If you observe the sampled output here, and that sampled output will be like this, having number of samples. And if you observe the quantized output here, after this block, you can observe that there is a quantized output. Just the only difference is all the sample values are round off or approximated to nearest quantization level. That is only the difference between sampled output and quantized output. Next, when we observe the here, all of you observe what is the encoded output here. What is the encoded output after the encoder? You observe that all the LEDs are turn on only. That means it is not the indication of all ones. It is not the indication of all ones because when we observe the sample output in the signal, we have a number of samples are there. Based on the number of samples, each sample value or each quantized value is only encoded. That means here first initially at the first sampling time, one quantized value is passed. Only for that quantization only there is some 7-bit of information is transmitted. That means for a first sample value or a quantized value, 7 group of bits are encoded. For the next sample or quantized value, next again 7 bits are encoded. Like that 7 bits are encoded continuously one after the other. This is not the indication of all ones. So because the number of samples are continuously coming as the input to the encoder, so it is continuously making the or encoding into 7 bits of sequence. So these sample values are continuously coming within a fraction of seconds because the sampling time used is generally in microseconds. So for every 1 microsecond, one sample value is coming. So within the fraction of microseconds, these LEDs are changing. That's why we cannot able to observe whether the LED is on or off. So for this particular sine wave as an analog signal, if you observe this, this is what the observation of clock signal. Okay, what the clock signal. And if you observe the direct output for this analog signal, since the analog amplitude having number of samples, so we are getting a number of bit sequences, one after the other. So there is a large bit sequence is there. For example, the sample signal is having 1000 samples. For each sample, 7 bit of information. That is, for each sample value, 7 bits are transmitted. For all those 1000 sample values, 777 and so on up to 1000 times these 7 bits are transmitted. So totally 7000 bits are transmitted at the PCM output. So if you want to draw the pulse waveform for those 7000 bits, so that will be obtained like this. So it is a random representation of ones and zeros having high and low pulses like this. Okay. So we cannot able to clearly observe how many ones are there, how many zeros are there, where the high pulse is there, where the low pulse is there. It is very difficult because the large number of bits are coming at the PCM output. So what will we do is we are going to observe only the encoded output only for one sample. Only for one quantized value, we are going to observe what is the encoded output. Now let us see how to take only one sample value. For that, instead of taking a sinusoidal signal, we are taking the DC signal. The DC signal will provide the constant amplitude value, whether it may be 3.2 volts or 1.2 volts, 2 volts, whatever it may be, you can change the value. So based on our input sample values, we can take any one sample value as the input signal. Only for that sample value, we are going to observe what is the encoded bit sequence. Then only you can clearly observe what is the PCM output. Now we'll see, instead of taking this a sinusoidal signal, we are taking one DC signal and changing the amplitude of the DC signal or a sample value. For each sample value, you can clearly observe what is the group of bits which are assigned at the encoder. So here I am changing the amplitude value, so you can clearly observe change in the bit sequence. Okay, you can clearly observe the change in the bit sequence. Is that right? So as a simple explanation, I am changing the amplitude value so that alternate ones and zeros are coming at the encoder output. So at this particular point, if you observe that for a random sample value, any one sample value you take, that sample value is quantized to the nearest value, and based on that quantization value, based on this one quantized value, 7 group of bits are assigned. So what are the 7 group of bits assigned here? 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, something like that. Okay. So if you observe, if you adjust some amplitude, perfectly you will get the 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0 as a sequence. This is only an example. If you change the input signal amplitude value, you may observe different bit sequence. It may be 110, 110, 110 also, depending on what the amplitude value you have taken on the one sample. Then if you observe what is the output sequence, the PCM output, then you can clearly observe that 101010 waveform is okay. Now if you observe this PCM receiver, so it is a direct operation. Similarly, what I have explained in the time division multiplexing, in this PCM also both the transmitter and receiver must be operated based on same clock. So here clock and clock pulses, clock inputs both are combined, so that both the transmitter and receiver sections are operated in a synchronized way. Similarly, ground also must be common for both the bits. So that's why here clocks are combined from transmitter to receiver. So if you observe the connections, how they are made, these clock pulses are connected to this point. So observe the video. The clock pulses which are there in the transmitter side, the same clock is applied here. So one is synchronized clock and transmitter clock, both are combined and applied from transmitter to receiver. So then only both the transmitter and receiver both are synchronized. If the both transmitter and receivers are synchronized only, then only we can get the reconstructed waveform perfectly. Now PCM output is directly connected to the input of the receiver, and similarly, as I already explained, both must be having common ground. Then both are having common ground. Now, if you observe what is the decoded sequence, whatever the sequence you are used, you have produced at the output of transmitter, that is nothing but 101010 alternate sequence. The same thing is decoded here. Based on this decoded sequence, you can get the reconstructed original demodulated signal here. If you observe this point in the CRO, then in the CRO, this is what the decoded sequence. So in the CRO, I'm connecting this to CRO pin, CRO probe, positive and 0 to the negative. Now, if you observe the output as a constant line, why we are getting a constant line means, since we have changed the input to DC value, so only that DC signal is obtained as a demodulated signal. Okay, so the same amplitude, whatever you are given as the input, that same height or the amplitude value is obtained as a demodulated signal. But if you change the input signal from DC to analog signal, that is 1 kHz sine wave, then if you observe the demodulated signal, here I am changing the DC to AC. So sine wave is given as the PCM input. If you observe the PCM demodulated waveform, then you can clearly observe the demodulated signal is again a original sinusoidal waveform having 1 kHz frequency with some amplitude. Okay. So this is our experiment of pulse code modulation and demodulation. After doing the experiment, all of you should make some observations and calculations. The first important thing is all of you must observe input signal, sample signal, quantized signal, PCM output, and should calculate what is the signal amplitude and signal frequency, that is FM. Based on that, you should calculate what is the sampling time, how the sampling time is calculated, how TS is calculated. TS is calculated from the sampling clock, that is what is the time period of that clock is nothing but the TS. Based on the TS, we can calculate FS, and then we need to verify whether the sampling condition is satisfied or not, that is whether FS is greater than PFM or not. Next, observe the sample and quantize the signals in the CRO and identify how many number of samples are generated. If you observe that how many dots in the sample output, that indicates the number of samples. You can also calculate number of samples also. And observe the PCM output for one single input sample value, that is from DC signal in the CRO, and also note down the corresponding bit signal. And repeat the PCM output for different input sample values. You need to observe the PCM output not only for a single DC value, you need to observe the PCM output for number of sample values like 2 or 3. And observe the demodulated signal from PCM receiver in the CRO, and then calculate what is the amplitude and corresponding frequency. And again identify whether the digital bit sequence is perfectly decoded in the PCM receiver or not. Okay, this is what the observations or calculations doing the experiment. Okay, so this is what I am going to explain in this today's session. It's all about pulse code modulation and demodulation.